Germany's defence minister had some harsh criticism about remarks made by the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Von der Leyen was on a European troop deployment to Ukraine, and on Sunday, the Financial Times newspaper published an interview with her in which she said that Europe is drawing up, and I quote, pretty precise plans for a multinational troop deployment to Ukraine as a security guarantee after the war with Russia ends. Now, the German Defence Minister, Boris Pistorius, had this to say about von der Leyen's remarks. He said, "Those are things that you do not discuss before you sit down at the negotiating table with many parties that have a say in the matter." He added, "I would know better than to comment or confirm such considerations in any way, apart from the fact that the European Union has no mandate or competency whatsoever when it comes to positioning troops." We can get more on that with DW's Terry Schultz, who's joining us from Brussels. Terry, first of all, what do you make of this quite angry reaction by Germany's defence minister? Was von der Leyen revealing secret information here?
No, I think this really extraordinarily sharp and public rebuke from the German defense minister wasn't so much about what Ursula von der Leyen said, but the fact that she was talking about this at all. He was clearly telling her that she needs to stay in her lane, and that is not talking about potential troop deployments. And he's not the only one. I heard the same in conversations with other defense officials. They really felt that negotiations are at such a sensitive stage that she shouldn't be going out talking about any of these details, even if they are things that we've heard before from think tankers, for example. She didn't reveal anything that hasn't been speculated. They just really don't want her talking about it.
So whether or not she did reveal things that she maybe shouldn't have, tell us more, Terry, about the process of building this coalition right now.
Well, that just exposes how much pressure leaders like Pistorius and his fellow defense ministers are under right now from the United States to come up with this coalition of the willing, but also from themselves. They're being forced to sort of put on paper different scenarios about what they could do in the case of an eventual ceasefire or an overall peace agreement without having any idea what that looks like. They're constantly asked, will you be putting boots on the ground? Those are difficult questions for leaders in the best of circumstances, much less when they have no idea what those parameters are going to look like. So they are under a lot of pressure right now. That's why there's going to be a meeting later this week called by President Emmanuel Macron of these coalition of the willing countries to discuss where they are in this process. It's really a very tense time discussing what might happen with your troops when you have no idea what the United States is going to be willing to provide.
Right. And speaking of the United States, Terry, is von der Leyen's faith in US backup well placed, do you think?
That was one of the interesting things I found in her remarks, that she seemed to be so sure that the United States is going to fulfill these promises that President Trump made to that group of European leaders that visited the White House a couple of weeks ago. And perhaps she was trying to send a signal or trying to put pressure on President Trump to come forward with those details, because as far as I know, not that anybody's been revealing secret information to me, the Europeans really have not received any confirmation of what backstop the United States is willing to provide to coalition of the willing troops if the Europeans are going to go ahead eventually with putting their own citizens in harm's way inside Ukraine.
DW's Terry Schultz in Brussels. Terry, thank you so much.